There is already someone already joined, I see. And I actually hear you well, so I'm not sure.
Me too, me too.
I can hear you well, and I see the video and moving, and also your face moving. I see you. So it looks like good now, stable. Let's see. Yeah, yes, we are basically ready. I'm not sure if we should wait for another person at this point, but basically we are ready. We are good to go. So up to you. Okay, so then people can join then during the presentation. Okay.
Do you want us to turn images off?
Just give me a signal. No, I mean.
Hi.
Okay, can we? Good. So, hi everyone. Alessandro here and Valentina from Berlin. We are 𝘼𝙧𝙎𝙬𝙧𝙘. We are here for this workshop today, and we will be giving a short introduction and of course present ourselves as a little institution or artist initiative that we have in Berlin. It is called 𝘼𝙧𝙎𝙬𝙧𝙘, and it is an artist-run space that we started years ago together. Let's say starting from our artistic experience and our artistic path, respectively. I am a music composer and a musician myself, and a sound artist and a developer. And Valentina, she's a visual artist, and together we started to also engage in a curatorial discourse around the topic that informs our practices, music, film, and media art. And that's how 𝘼𝙧𝙎𝙬𝙧𝙘 started years ago. And so we are basically dealing with a cross-disciplinary discourse that involves expanded cinema, modern music, publishing, and critical reflection in media art. And not to forget, 𝘼𝙧𝙎𝙬𝙧𝙘 is also a project space in Berlin. So it's actually also a space where we curate and organize events. But we also like to think about it as a curatorial platform. So it's not limited to this. And I am giving this introduction not only to really introduce ourselves as human beings, but also because this somehow relates to this project that we are presenting today, which is called All Sources Are Broken, ASAB, shorten it. Of course, it is related also to the workshop and to this little sort of workshop panel or webinar that we are going to do together today. It relates because All Sources Are Broken. It is a project where we really put, Valentina and I, we really put in this project a lot of the artistic practices and a lot of effort in putting together different languages. And when I say languages, I'm not talking about, for example, the language of the music or the language per se, intended as a communication tool. So it's not the social part connected to the language or also to music or other art form, but language intended as a recording tool, a tool for archiving. And this is the interest, so to say, that drove us to create this project. All sources are broken, and yeah, and that's why I'm putting this into the context of our research and our curatorial collaboration at Labor Neunzehn. Yeah, maybe we can start showing to break ice a few slides about what we did. This is I will simply give a few words, say a few words, sorry, about these. Don't want to be redundant, and just really to put into context. This is, for example, a workshop that we did with 𝘼𝙧𝙤𝙪𝙧𝙘 and the museum, the new museum in New York, in collaboration, and this is about the web recorder tool developed there, and this again, yeah, it was hosted at Transmediale Berlin, and yeah, we can see here the director of the new museum in New York, who was invited there to speak, and yeah, go back, please. And yeah, so this was again about preservation of archive preservation and preservation of media art. So it was again this topic. Then of course you can, if you can pass to the next slide. Okay, this is a series that we created at Labor Neunzehn, which is called Camera, and it is an experimental film series. And again, we cross, so to say, with other forms, in this case publishing, because we create out of the films, out of the frames of the film, so to say, we create also a little publication that is distributed during the film screening, and the film screening is organized as a sort of exhibition. We had already an edition, and in 2021 we will have a new edition that will explore more deeply the art side of it, let's say that the exhibition part of it. This is in the field of sound art, and we had an exhibition dealing with the topics of field recording and data sonification. So again, sound as a mean of writing, basically by means of microphones and environmental recordings from outside world, or by means of usage of data to create sound out of digital data. So in the data sonification case, and yeah, so this again is exploring this part, and this is a side of the exhibition. And what do we have more? If you can scroll to the next, again, a project about field recording and publishing, a nice book of Peter Cusack dealing with sound as a tool for recognition of danger. So this is an interesting book, and again, we had this installation view here. So this is also a view of our project space, and other data visualization workshops and other projects always related to these. So again, like I said, it's really about trying to keep consistency between these different art languages or artistic languages. I don't know exactly how to call them, but keep consistency within this topic of the language as an archiving and as a recording tool. Okay, this is our cluster series, which is more focused on composition. Yeah, here we can see an overview of the space. This is one concert pre-corona, and with musicians and composers invited. And again, here we explore not only the music, so we gather together not only to listen to music, but also to I wouldn't say analyze, but to talk and to discuss about the scores. So how the sound is really written, and no matter if classical or electronic music, but how the sound is really written, and how this meaning can be transposed also to paper or to digital format, but really recorded, archived. And then we have this live cinema series, not series, but a project this is a project I do with Valentina, where I do live sound, and Valentina does organize found footage, material, Super 8 recordings, family archives, own recordings, own footage. And this is a live performance, or it was a live performance, because it was paused during the Corona pandemic, like for every other performing artist. And yeah, I think this is basically it. And to wrap up, All Sources Are Broken is somehow is an internet-based project that comes out from a reflection on all of those topics. Please move to the next one. So I'm going to quickly read these to give a more of a definition, so to say, if I may call it definition. All Sources Are Broken is an internet-based project developed by Labor Neunzehn. Is it both an artistic experiment and a collaborative re-archival practice, which presents itself as an open access WCMS for the investigation of hypertext space in post-digital books. So this is the statement, so to say, of this project. The project is, of course, internet-based, so it exists a portal, a platform, which is interactive and participative. And during the workshop, of course, we will also see this and how to use it. So it has a login and a backend that can be used to work and to explode books, like we say. And the scope and the goal, there is not really a goal, but the scope of the investigation is to exactly investigate hypertextuality in post-digital books. And maybe we could also ask ourselves what a post-digital book is. This is not a question that can be answered. There are no really definitions of it, but of course, we cannot, I think, nowadays, simply read books or read online sources. So we can of course have these two possibilities, but it's not anymore possible to read a book on paper without then going online and research and do some research on the book and go back to the book and continue, something like that. Especially when it comes about essays, because of course literature stays in another. It's an art form itself, so it's different. But as for essays, there's a lot in internet, and there's a lot also outside of the internet. But it's not possible, of course, and this is a very common experience for everyone. It's not possible anymore to divide, to separate these two domains, and we are constantly migrating from our offline identity to our online identity, and also from offline resources, offline world and online world. And those integrates constantly through our social identities and so on and so forth. I think this is something very common. And in this sense, post-digital book is how to deal for us with this question of how to read books or reread books today, taking into account, of course, the digital online world and technology, but also not forgetting that we are human beings reading books or reading sources. And then when we do this, we activate a process, and we wanted to reflect more or less on this process. And that's why we built this platform. We saw a little while I was talking. What we saw was the participation is not up to date, but just to give. And here, just to give you an idea, and we started with the conception of the project and of the platform in 2016. In late 2016, early 2017, we had a lot of meetings to outline the design first, which was a very interesting point because design is really relevant. In this sense, maybe we will talk about this later. And then, of course, to plan the development steps, the initial development steps at that time, because this is an ongoing process. And then we had a launch of the project in March 2017 in the context, if I remember well, of 𝘼𝙗𝙬𝙬𝙬 𝙬𝙗𝙬𝙬 and we did this online sort of desktop publishing session, and we actually went through the process of publishing the platform live. So really with command line and also video and material that we used. So it was a kind of messy and experimental process that we had at the time. And the project is continuously under development. And the next step that we want to do, and it's already started actually, is to base it on the user interface to provide an application that gives the possibility of a sort of canvas, a sort of free canvas that offers the users the possibility to organize the sources that they are found or added or contributed, and assemble these sources into this canvas, text, video, images, etc., and create printable PDFs and export these PDFs. So it's a sort of process where we want to actually go back to the paper and use the project as a sort of output for PDF and narration and projects and exploration based on the path of exploration path of the users. And this is started. This step we started already, and we collaborate now with a London-based developer who added to our team. And we are now exposing an internal API, application programming interface, for those who are not familiar with this. And this API will be at the core of this application. And we are now currently building this application. So, yeah, this is the next step. Okay, I will maybe go a little bit. Let's say deeper or more in detail about the project. Of course, you can interrupt at any time, and it is welcome. I mean, questions or anything is really welcome at any time. It's not meant to be like a monologue, but yeah, so feel free to interrupt if you have questions. You don't have to raise hands. Okay, so the starting point for us was what was the book, basically. We started from the book. And the idea was to explore and to move from this realm of the book. And we noticed that, especially in 𝚙, like I said, we noticed that hypertextuality and print coexist already. They are not two separate things, and they are actually existing through a navigable archive of collected reference material that visitors can both navigate and shape themselves in our project, but also when you actually read a book. So we started to reflect on these questions, or actually we started to discuss about hypertextuality, if this is inherent to hypertext, to this technology, or if hypertextuality is also something that we can find in the real world. For example, we found, and we all find, I mean, it's very common, citations in book, and the citations often contains hyperlinks, or we find citations that contains reference to works or to piece of arts or to film, to other books, no? in every book. And so we contain exit point from every book, no? And this is actually like it's like the margin notes and the bibliography of every book works from ages. It's nothing new. But we, sorry, excuse me. But at this point, we discussed about hypertextuality. Please move one ahead, one further. And we, like I said, we wanted to trace and to see what happened when we go into this space of the citations in books, and what happens when we follow the citations or the links or the indications that the author writes aside of the main discourse in the books. And at this point, we found that, of course, this relation is something that we do every day by reading, is something that we already do, but we wanted to do this with the help. We wanted to so to say to explore the real connection that exists between these and the browser. So on one side we have the book, and we have the paper, and we have printed written text, and we have printed links that exist. They are links, but they are not active. You cannot click on a link in a book, in a page, or on paper, but you can go online, and then you can use that other sort of metaphorically say book, which is the browser. And the browser is a container of hypertexts, a huge container of hypertext, which is indexed, and we can through this index find links and find words, etc. So we started to explore and to say, okay, I want to check this link, and we noticed that this migration that happens has a lot of opens up a lot of different possibilities, because in some cases, for example, just to mention, if the book is pretty new, then maybe the link will work, and you of course will find more information, and then in any case you can explore and read more. It's an extension, appendix of the book. In other cases, like more out-of-date books, or
just a quick comment on that.
Sure.
Something that I've noticed with younger generation of people, and this relates to all facets of life, films, music, books, is that there's a change. So people that I would say from my generation and older, so I'm in my 40s, we wanted to have stuff. We wanted the book, we wanted the CD, or we wanted the movie, and we would go and buy it, and people would have CD collections or record collections, or even libraries is how they would describe it. But now there's a change that people don't want to have those things. They want to have access to them. They want to know that they can reach it. So you have people saying, well, I have my Spotify music collection. I can access it through Spotify, or I can always watch it on YouTube. But there's an impermanence with that. And those things move around and they disappear and they change in the format. I mean, I'm sure you've heard the hand fired first. You know this hand fired first slogan? When they made the Star Wars movie, there's a scene when they go to a bar. It's called the Cantina on Mos Eisley. And there are two characters, and one of them is Han Solo, who's a bounty hunter. Another one, I think, is Greeb or Greeby, and he's a not very nice character. And in the original version of the film, Han Solo shoots him first before that character can shoot Han Solo. But George Lucas wanted Han Solo to be more of an American hero. So if he shot first, he wasn't an American hero anymore. So when he made later versions, he twisted the order of what happened so that Han didn't shoot first. He was drawing the gun when he was shot at. And then he tried to put, I don't know what actually happened, he wanted to then put that into the actual archive. So the American Congress has a archive of significant movies, and that movie was highlighted as being a significant movie, and he wanted to put the altered version into the archive, and there was quite a lot of debate about this. Well, what about people's memory? You're changing what people actually know by putting in the archive that something isn't so. So that when younger people come along who didn't see the film in the theatre when it came out in the movie theatre, or don't have it in collection, can only go to the Congress and only see what's written there. So this kind of hypertextuality is quite interesting.
Thank you for your comment and for the input. I think personally that this that you describe this sort of twist and loop and sort of this discrepancy between these two things is really existing. But I don't think this is related to younger or older people. It's not specifically for me a question of age, not necessarily. Also because internet is moving really fast, and this is sort of cancelling, the deleting this generation way of passing information. Sorry, the way of passing information based on generation, based on this, and so I think this is really something that is also present and in real time now, because also the way we really go online and find sources online, and then we can also, of course, extend this from the offline world. But the way we use this information online affects and really builds our identity and goes back. So this digital mindset goes really back to our physical life. So we are actually assisting to the reverse process already right now, I think. And this can interest people of every age, also people that saw the internet from the beginning, like us. I'm also in my late 40s, and also Valentina, and we started using the internet in the early 90s, and we saw all the, so to say, we saw a lot of the project of the process. Sorry. And the changes. And one thing that I would like to add, and which is I found your comment really punctual now, really precise, is that exactly one of the topic that was interesting at that time when we explored this thing is that we we started to notice that a lot of links are broken now. So a lot of resources are not there anymore. Or if they are there, they bring you or they deliver information that are not anymore related in any case to these, or that the infrastructure has changed completely. So maybe the link is there, and maybe it's also a persistent link, like a 𝙃 that delivers persistency. So it's not anymore affected by obsolescence, but maybe you have to pay in order to access the link, or maybe you have to subscribe the institution that holds and keeps the property of this resource. A library, a university, a private group of people, it doesn't matter. It's changing also in this sense. Or sometimes it's changing because the infrastructure, really in terms of data center, has changed, emigration happened, and then the DNS is completely fucked up, and you deliver the famous 404 or other errors like that. And this is exactly what interests us, and what interested and still interests us in this process. The drifts, the twists, as you mentioned, the derives, the disruptions, all of these in between little spaces where the discrepancy, where the disruption happen. These are the spaces that we want and we try to explore with this platform and with this project. And this is why this project is also a post-digital process, because it's not about archiving things. So it's not about creating a continuity from books to the online resources that they are referenced or cross-referenced into the book citations, but it has to do also with playing, now with a sort of play with these resources. I see. Yeah, Exactly. So we can incorporate maybe this, if this is in some book cited at some point, definitely we can play with this source and build output out of it. So one of the goal was, one of the direction was also this playful way of dealing with the sources, aside of the research on hyperlink obsolescence, and aside of many other topics that are already addressed very well in the more or less scientific debate that is going on. But for us, what was important is to create possible outputs and outcomes that are also somehow creative, and that can somehow also foster discovery and, if possible, deceleration. So a decelerated way to use the browser. Not always use it as, log in here, log in there, I received some information, 1, 2, 3, I post, and that's it. So it's also getting lost through the internet is still possible, right? So and maybe this was somehow, I don't know if this is somehow adding something to what you just said, but I think it's more or less in this direction. And and basically one of the question in this sense was exactly, where does the networking purpose of hyperlinks actually starts in offline texts? So is there any purpose for a link to be printed on paper? What's there for? You mentioned Marcus, is it correct? Okay. Marcus. Okay. You mentioned, Marcus, that the older or younger generation. No? So in this sense, of course, no? The time passes, and why do we have links on books? No? Then we need to reactivate all of the process of the industry to reprint the book and print an up-to-date version of the link, or do we do something else? Or do we try to resolve the problem with this persistent link and then provide a way to track links and to provide consistency online? And in both cases, what we are doing? What are we really doing here? No? What is the real meaning, if there is any, of this procedure? No? It's a preservation topic, definitely. And of course, like I already said, apart from the solutions, no, that they might arise or come out, we still are interested in this discrepancy, because we think that obsolescence is something that has a real value. It's not something that must be at any rate or really must be overcome. And of course, since we are living in this, since the digital world is really present at any level, of course, we are into a process of upgrading constantly, and we have to upgrade, otherwise we are obsolescent. But the obsolescence hold a sort of a differential content. It's exactly the place where the differential or the difference is really there. And this is somehow something that interested us in this research. And obsolescence can also be a synonymous of sustainability, for example, to quickly slide into the topic also of this festival. Sustainability, or ecology, because we heard that of course through data centers consume electricity, and of course the book, we all know the forest and this problem, but we also know that if we bring everything online and we forget books, then we don't really solve the problem, because also the data centers are really consuming in terms of and not definitely sustainable. So also, again, the problem of sustainability is maybe not a problem of what you do with which tool, but it's a problem of how we do things, how much books we publish, how much different resources and the format of the resources that we want to use. So it's somehow, I think sometimes it's a provocation, of course, but sometimes I like to think that sustainability is a problem of quantity. No? Even if we did the best thing in the world, but all together at the same time, this would be not sustainable at all. So in one sense. So it's really a question of synchronicity and of quantity, and it's a mass problem, definitely. So again, obsolescence can not help, but can be an escape, can be something that escape this logic of continuous upgrading things, continuous go for the next, continuously deliver speed, performance, and something that you also mentioned is actually something that you want to consume in a quick time. You want to have this and that's it. You want to have the resource and stop. In the same time, we wanted to deal with this because this is the real world we are living in, and actually technology is doing such great things. Just comes up now to my mind, for example, an example coming from the situation we are really living in today, the pandemic. So we all heard about these applications that will provide a QR code after the vaccinations. So Valentina and I, we got vaccinated recently, so we are researching on this somehow. We are reading like everyone on this, and this application, of course, technology in cases of crisis like this can help a lot, because it can speed up things. It can really provide consistent data. So it's really much more effective. But we have, of course, to see to what extent a QR code is sustainable for everyone. Of course, it is already possible to print this QR code on paper, put it in your pocket, and travel with that paper in your pocket. So this is again more or less the same discrepancy that we have. But the important thing is that also the obsolete part of the discourse is preserved, and that we don't really drift into something that into a situation, or even worse, a global situation where it is not possible to downgrade, to go back not in terms of reversibility, of digital reversibility, but go back in terms of really slow down somehow. So, for example, if I want to have my paper, I should be free to have it. And it is like that because, of course, it is a question of governments and they have to provide accessibility, barrier-free, and all of these topics. But, of course, to have a QR code is easier. For example, and then again, the discourse of the infrastructure. Maybe you can have this paper, but then if you have this QR code on your phone in the airport, it will be quicker. And also the process of boarding will be quicker, and everything will be quicker. So there is this idea that quicker is better somehow. And maybe it's not like that, or at least we have to. We are free to think that it is not always better speed and velocity. And of course, there are a lot of theorists that, like Paul Virilio, that they are dealing with these topics. It's 10 years or more, or 20 years or more that they deal with this topic and of turbo capitalism and acceleration.
I think there's something else. There's something else that you've come up with, Alessandro, and that's the link between the two. The link between paper source to paper source was fixed in time much more than the link between a paper source to an electronic source. So that electronic source isn't always the same source. Although that links in the book, as you indicated this already, that when you go to, let's say it's a link to a page, you go to the web page and the page is different. The information has been edited, it's been altered. It's not the same link as when it was created. And it's very difficult to find that original link. Your computer system might have changed. Someone's edited it, someone's altered something in it. sometimes it's for the better, sometimes it's not. And there's a real uncertainty, I think, there. I wouldn't like to pretend that books are necessarily without error. I mean, my training is as a biologist. So if I go back, I remember at school being told how wonderful the linear and binomial system was. We could identify plants and how stable and wonderful this was, and that we could use this and we could find the same plants, and scientists everywhere use the same plants. But now I have a master's in forestry. I've looked and I've seen that there are books written in the 15th century where the names of the plants that were used as common names by the people there, and they in herbal descriptions and how they would use the plants for cooking or for medicine, and those same common names are still in use now. But when I look at the scientific names, they've changed because somebody's grouped it into a different scientific family, and then somebody's decided the relationship somewhere else, and someone's decided that it was published in Germany 2 years before it was Italy, and then somebody 2 years before in Spain, and then another scientist has done a DNA analysis. So those are actually more unstable names. The supposedly more stable names are more unstable. But with the books, I can look between books and I can look between text. I can often trace that. But once it becomes electronic, it's very difficult to do that. It's very difficult to find out, well, where's this come from or that come from?
Actually, you mentioned two things that one is exactly this.
Oh, are you still there, Valentina?
I have some problem. I have the connection problems, but I'm here.
Alessandro seems to have disappeared.
Okay, I think
Mark.
Okay, we are back. We had a short off. Okay, so you mentioned that the electronic sources are difficult to track, but actually it is already possible to do that. Of course, everything is very much complex, but complexity is good. The complexity you are mentioning is exactly the good thing, and complexity is very good in this sense. This digital object identifier, for example, the DOI, DOI, is a technology that exists already to provide stable link independently from where they are hosted, how the link, the URL is formatted. They are completely stable because they use a technology that works on the ID. So they are basically the real ID that inform a particular URL. And so in this case, might print one link on a paper and have it. Hi.
Maybe you have also again a problem with the, and you can turn off the video if you. Okay. Maybe just for 5 minutes. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, guys.
Just to check.
Yeah. Okay. I turn it off my video. I hope I'm here.
We hear
Can you hear me? Okay. Perfect. So I don't know exactly at what point
we can
I was interrupted now. So I don't know exactly where I was off, but I just wanted to say that we have this technology of the digital object identifier that gives the possibility actually. So it's already an already existing technology. And this technology offers a URL as an ID, which means that independently how the URL is formatted, name it, save it, and also independently from the hosting server provider or the physical machine that hosts this link will be always persistent. No? So we already have this technology. But again, this technology is a way of dealing with obsolescence. No? It aims at solving problems, but we don't want, so to say, that all problems are solved. We like complexity. And if, for example, just to mention, if we would turn, this is pure speculation, of course, but just because we are discussing, so I'm really speaking as I think. But if we were turning the whole internet into a system of digital object identifiers, the result would be a gigantic database with fixed values. So no more the possibility, for example, to create little independent spaces, maybe to represent little communities. This is a scenario that, of course, I don't know, but and like I said, I'm purely speculating here. But of course, the fermentation, all the real life of any project or any art or any initiative always starts from certain indeterminacy, from certain from a certain degree of unclearness. And if we go ahead and we simply want to solve everything, then at this point we will face other issues that we have to trace. For example, and this thing that I'm mentioning now, of course, I was mentioning sort of catastrophic side of it, because I'm purely speculating, but actually I am a developer, so I work into this field, and I really love code, and I'm not absolutely against code and even against algorithm, but it's the usage. Again, same thing. It's the very simple example of ever. You can use a fork to eat or to do something else, maybe to hurt someone. So this scenario I was saying that I mentioned has already started as for the semantic web. So idea where the web is completely indexed and ready to use. Okay, and then of course it will start the discussion about who is ruling this, or who the stakeholders are, and the big companies, investments, all of the process that, of course, it happens in case of big infrastructure like the internet is. So that's why I think that this thing that you outlined are actually the good parts of it. And this uncertainty is really, and this complexity is really something that, at least in this project, we like to underline, and we really like to play with it, to play with the citations taken from books, and this citation should not refer or reference other books. This is the bibliography thing that you mentioned between paper, it's okay, but unless we move from the paper to the digital. So that's why we wanted in this now not everyone is able to see here, since maybe someone is just listening, or it will be listening, but these little tiles that you say are all online media sources. We call them in the project online media sources. And an online media source is a bit of information, either video or textual or an image, but of course it's a digital piece of information that can be referenced into a citation. So that's why a book is not interesting for us as a citation, because then of course you go buy or find the other book in the library. But when you use the browser, you have the possibility to find pieces of books or extensions of books contained into the citations. And that's why, of course, the platform encourages the exploration of mostly essays or media arts and media theory books, because they contain a lot of references to media. And of course, it's very difficult to explore an ancient book with this platform, even though it is possible sometimes to find very ancient, like ancient paintings quoted in modern books. And then in this case, it is possible. We have in the project pictures of paintings from the 15th century because they were referenced into books talking about that in the context of the remediation. Yeah, that's basically the approach of it, and this approach will deliver ultimately the possibility of building parallel narratives and patterns. So it's, here is where then you have again this freedom, so to say, of combining the sources, and it is a sort of practice of reading books, an extended practice of reading books that also incorporates the online discourse around the sources, and it's actually a way to read. Yeah, I think we can skip the. This is the web archives, the 𝙤𝙯, and the session crawlers. Yeah, I think we can skip this part about preservation because we addressed it already.
Okay, Alessandro, you can also turn on the camera if you want to try.
Okay.
Maybe it's better if you see you.
If I show up. Hey.
Hey.
I'm here. Okay. Good. Yeah. Let me quickly check. Okay, the time. I think we are almost there. As for this presentation, I'm trying to think about what was not said and maybe still important to be mentioned, and that this is an open source project, so it is open in terms of sources, of course, and of code. We have, of course, a login, but the login is not something that we use to process any information, but to deliver the user the possibility to the user to create own export path, because then at the end you want to create your own sources, but it is all open access, and definitely participation is part of it, because the project lives on participation, and one of the modality of participation is, for example, these reading groups, and yeah, now we have this challenging opportunity to do this also online, which is something that adds a lot of complexity, because actually if I have to say, the opportunity to use the Uri library to inform the platform live, being there in person, was really attractive to us. But of course, we all got used to this pandemic situation, and this is all to say that in any case, participation is definitely a big part of the project, and we increment our database, our archive of cross-reference due to the thanks to the participation and thanks to the participants. And in this sense, I also have to say that we track also this social aspect of the project, the participation, because not always. We also thought about the possible failure of it, and the failure is no one is participating, or no one is really interested in doing this. But this again is for us a sort of opportunity to observe the discrepancy between offline and online migrations. So to observe again these delays and these decays that happen. But definitely during the workshop, we did other workshops in Berlin and in the Netherlands and in other places. And of course, these are always a good occasion to do this process, to get through this process together. And the reading group and the workshop is only one of the possible outcome or the possible usage of the project, because actually we can, exactly as mentioned, we want to enable printing out of it. So this will be another outcome. And then we also had installations out of it, using and reusing this material. And basically anyone can do that. I mean, it's not. And we also had sort of experimental desktop film publishing piece of art or artworks out of it. So there are a lot of outcomes that comes from this approach of exploring these gaps between books, citations, and online media sources. Yeah.
Can I ask something? It's a little bit around the idea of failure. I also have a workshop that hasn't got very many people signed up for it yet, on Saturday. And I was wondering, like, why haven't people signed up to it? I think there's many reasons, of course. One is people are sick to doing workshops. I've done lots and lots of them. Another one is it's a little distance away. Maybe I didn't market it right. But I know that the topic is interesting to many people, and I know it's relevant to many people.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder, am I seeing the world differently? Have I seen something else? And I wonder, when you've done your workshops, have you noticed that with the participants? Have certain people seen things differently? Have you noticed something that other people haven't noticed? Is that what's behind it a little bit? You've been motivated because you've noticed something that other people have it's passed them by. They haven't observed it close enough.
Definitely. Thank you for this comment. I totally agree. This is one of the parts of dealing with workshops. No? Is exchanging, and through exchanging, we can definitely confirm or disconfirm, or maybe, as you said, reconfirm our own research by difference, no? So to say, because we noticed that maybe we found out something different in this view. But I think this happens to all participants in a workshop, because a workshop is really a sort of round table where you can really exchange these. And for example, I can tell you that in our experience, when we did this workshop, we had, sometimes it was full of people, sometimes pretty empty, sometimes it was successful in terms of participants. But apart from that, mostly the participants were interested into, how can I say, were less interested into the obsolescence part of the discourse. So we're less interested in what for us is the core of the project. So it's to explore and to play with the resources. And they were more interested in understanding how this consistency between paper and hyperlinks can be really built. So they were more interested in the technological part of it.
And you were more interested in the cultural evolution part of it.
Exactly.
How the culture is changing. Yeah, I think this is a problem. I'm doing a PhD at the moment. It's a social science. Again and again and again, we try different social technologies to try and bring something different out from people. And the two responses that are most frustrating, one is, oh, have you read this other reference? Somebody's found this, but I don't really know what they found. And it's like, well, yeah, I can look online, but I want to know what people actually think. That's one frustrating.
Yeah,
and the other one is when it's very superficial and you can't get them to get deep into something. So often you have, like we've spent an hour now, you often spend an hour before you start to get to that level. And it's quite difficult to keep people for the continuity, to introduce the topic, to just talk around it, and then for them to think about it and dig into it. That's often really a time constraint. So I think I can see that now we talk a little bit more, I start to see this obsolescence thing. And then I start to think more about it, like, well, what is obsolescence? And things that come to my mind are things like the historian's fallacy and presentism, where we see everything of today being the best and how it all should be. And we can't think very easily how it was like 10 years ago even. it's very hard to think what was it like in the 1990s when most of us weren't online and we weren't using Twitter and YouTube every day and Facebook every day, and the information wasn't available like that. Just when we wanted it, and how our life has really changed quite fundamentally with that. But also, those things sound very positive, but at the same time, I think we've lost a lot. There's a lot of aspects of, if you didn't have information straight away, well, how did you cope with that? How did you cope with not knowing something back in the 90s? And we're all inquiring, clever people. We had other strategies and ways of dealing with that. But now there isn't really that. It's like, I must know it. I must have it straight away. So there's a loss there of kind of, I think the biggest loss is creativity, actually. I think that people telling stories and creating stories.
A very big topic, what you are bringing now on the table, actually, I think. Definitely, absolutely. I think that, how can I say this? I would be better to say this in Italian, but I think that preservation, in this sense, is totally at the service of art. But apart from the value, I just want to say that to stress out what you just said, because I totally agree, actually, that, for example, if we want to go back and trace some resource from the 90s, of course, we can use the Wayback Machine that gives the possibility to see the web how it was before. It is for those who don't know, it is this project from the Web Archive that gives the possibility, makes a picture, crowds all the sources, and make a static copy of it, and makes a picture of the website in one point, basically on a daily basis, if possible. And then we have the possibility to really go back, exactly like the time back machine in the computer. We have the possibility to browse the internet as it was in the 90s. And if a resource was struck at the time, that we can really see and browse that resource exactly as it was. This is wonderful. Again, this thing is only, anyway, making the internet a piece of art. So it's collectionism, or it's giving the internet a context where a website is an object or an art object that can be preserved as a media art piece, as an object, with a value or another value, doesn't matter, but it's again an object. It doesn't gives back any of the utility or the information contained there. For the information, we really have to go back to what you mentioned, like the cultural shift of the discourse, the cultural shifting part of the discourse, and not the technological. So we always have this two way of dealing with this question. One is technological, the tool, and the other one is the post-digital. Anyway, the cultural, the sociological, the historical point of view, and this is always is an everlasting. It's not a conflict in my view, but it's really everlasting.
It's a dialogue, perhaps.
It's a dialogue, perhaps. Yeah, it's a dialogue, perhaps. And if I can really go out of topic for a moment, I would like to also to add on top of what you said, that it's the same, for example, in music. I compose music, and so I write music for myself, and I also write music for other musicians or ensemble to be performed. So the practice of doing this is to really write something that can be performed. So I have to give instruction to other people to do something, so it can be readable. And in this case, sometimes technology overcomes, no? And in the world of music, no? In the world of musicians, I would say, it's full of experiments where the tool that you use, or the instrument, especially in electronic music, but not only, overcome the idea that you maybe have, or that maybe you want to produce. I'm not talking about inspiration or anything like that, but of course, when you start to write a piece, you want to achieve something. No? It doesn't matter. Maybe you don't know what, but you want to go in this process of writing and do something. And sometimes the new tools or some tools or even some really device that you can use really overcome. And then a lot of musicians or some musicians sometimes, or some composer, do pieces where the tool is the most important part. And then it's a sort of elegy of this tool. You explore all of the possibilities of this tool, and that's it. No? But in the same time, it is possible maybe to do it, to get in dialogue with the tools and to force the tool to do something that the tool might not be able to do, for example. Now, this is the basic of experimentation, for example. And this is, again, something that maybe is related to this. Sorry for the digression. This was just a little jump into the music world. Okay.
There is, it's fine to have the digression. I think as well, you've hinted already by the sources that you've picked are images. And something that came to me when I saw that is we can link from text to image, but it's not possible to link from image to image. I mean, mentally, some people can do that. Temple Grandin, I don't know if you've heard of her. She's somebody who suffers from autism, I think. And she says that when she hears words, she sees pictures. And she finds it very hard to think. She can do it to some extent, but she finds it hard to think of words meaning things. And she says it's like a Rolodex, picture, 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 picture. And she connects all of them if you say something. And that concept, you've got that now with sound. You're talking about sound and experimentation and concepts and linking those rather than linking text. I think that's what comes to my mind as an idea anyway. And I think that's really exciting to be able to do that. We can't do it yet digitally. We can't do it. We're coming close. I was reading today that we can now scan someone's brain and we can start to construct the sentence that they were saying without having to hear the words. And it takes a lot of reading to do it, but we're getting there. So if AI continues in that path, we'll be able to connect concepts in minds and kind of feel an intelligence. And that's exciting and frightening.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. Frightening in this sense. Then I get better what you mean, but maybe we lose something. We are going to lose something if we achieve something similar. Yeah.
Well, it's what do we lose the most? Are our thoughts our own anymore? As we start to be influenced with a book, you shut the book. But once you start to cyberspace starts to take over and you start to become part of the machine. This is a bit fantasy as I'm putting it, a bit science fantasy. But as you integrate into the structures, the structure of your thinking and operating changes. I mean, this is a language theory. So there's a theory, does our mind make the words that we can say? Or once we've learned words, does that restrict what we can express ourselves? So with this hypertextuality, are we increasing maybe we're increasing our language, maybe we can be more expressive. Maybe that's possible. Or maybe it's not. Maybe we are more structured in a way that we are thinking and expressing ourselves, so we can't be so free as we were. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that we as humans, we always have the possibility to explore and, so to say, to reuse what we create, because at the end it's all about human creations. So maybe we should define who is we in this discussion, and who is them, or if we are all together now in a sort of environment where we influence each other. But for example, this is again very banal, no? But this discourse of the hyperlink that we did, it was exactly okay. We have browsers, we have hyperlinks and hypertextuality, cool, and then we have books and paper. But are we sure that hypertextuality is something that applies only to the browser? And then we said no, because hypertextuality is simply reference. And when we think, we use reference all the time. We do reference. When we read, we do reference. We reference things. So hypertextuality is a property of our mind, which invented ultimately the hypertextuality as a technological application. So the moment where this was applied as a technology, then this moment, maybe it's where we see the we and them, because not everyone, of course, has the possibility to understand a technology. Maybe the hyperlink is not such a complicated technology, but of course we have airplane engine, we have things that we really don't understand, and we can't not understand everything. This is impossible for a human being to understand everything. We are specialized insects. And so, in this sense, I think everything that comes out from the mind, basically, and the activity of humans can be somehow reused or reinvented or rethought. I don't know if this word makes sense in English.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I do wonder from that is that you've just put this slide with digital migration, and with that comes the idea of, is there a digital? There's two ways of understanding intelligence in English. One is like raw power of being able to understand something, and the other one is like a quality, like a color, like a way of thinking. So maybe there's an intelligence that we have in the way that information is organized and how it interrelates. And the hypertextuality, when we're now moving between cultures, from print culture to a more I say digital culture. I know it's not so limited to print textual culture. It's a wider culture. Is there something else that's happening there? Is there a change from a new intelligence? Are we gaining, not becoming more powerful intelligence-wise, but a new quality?
Yeah, definitely.
Is there another quality of intelligence?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Definitely, this is changing also the way we write, the way we read, the speed we do that, and it definitely it will change, and it is again a change that involves the body of everyone, body including brain, and also the other parts of the body. It's definitely a process that involves us as animals, as real human animals, definitely.
But maybe we're cyborgs as well. We start to become that way.
Or definitely also,
yeah.
also, absolutely. Okay.
Sorry, we've digressed. I don't mean to interrupt your flow of where you're going with.
No, you didn't. Absolutely. On the contrary, you added more. And so it's definitely not an interruption. I was just trying to recap and to wrap up before we move to the platform and have a look at the platform, and maybe also try to use the books that we have here and see if we can do something out of it. But
maybe after we can, before you finish, we can do a little pause.
Yes, we can do a little pause.
5 minutes, just to okay.
Makes sense. Yeah.
But do you want to continue with your presentation, or?
No. I'm good. You can just go to the next, please. And I wanted to have a look at this, and just scroll a little bit for me, please. Scroll the next one, and there is definitely this topic of the UX design, but maybe we will address this topic directly. Yeah. Okay. I'm good. I think we can definitely have 5 minutes pause. So I assume we can. Leave the computer as they are, maybe just go mute and with the video and with the audio, and see you there. I can't hear you, Valentina, you are double muted.
Oh, sorry. If you, I just ask you if it's okay to do the pause also for Mark.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, 5 minutes, just
okay,
a break.
I'm watching at the washing machine.
Yeah.
Great. So I'll see you there in 5
Yeah.
minutes, more or less.
Yeah.
Hello? Is that streaming team? Yeah, we're having a 5-minute pause. So you're lucky you've caught us, because otherwise there wouldn't be. We had a few issues with Alessandro dropping sound packets, but he turned off the visuals and it seems to be okay now. You're welcome.
Okay, I'm back.
We had Pixelache come for a second to check that everything's working okay. So
okay, thank you.
We've lost a few sound packets, but it's basically okay.
All right.
So I guess that's who the fourth person is. There's only me and you two. Is that right? Or there's somebody else?
Valentina will should also be there.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I'm back.
So do we have to wait for Pixelache to be back? Or I haven't understood.
No.
No, good.
They wanted to see that the technical side was working okay. But they're not.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, all good. Okay, so let's continue. And so we should pass to the more practical side of the question, of the story, and which is use the platform. I have books here with me, and then we have also PDF for this case that we can exchange. Okay, so maybe I'm trying to understand how to deal with this online. And maybe the best thing we can do, Valentina already opened the web. And maybe Valentina, you can show a little bit the website, how it looks like, the platform. So we have exactly, so this is the first stream that we have here. And the stream, yeah, exactly. We have these coordinates while we move, and the coordinates, yeah, are meant to be there because we want to be able to move. Yeah, so here we have the 3 books that we started on the projects, Media and Participation, Nico Carpentier. And then we have the book of Fritz Jameson, Postmodernism, or the Cultural Logic of Late Capitalism. And then we have Remediation of Bolter, and I never, yeah. And the book is basically explored through pages. So we have the number that you see here, that we can see here in the screen, are basically the pages, the real pages of the book. And of course, in the back office, it is possible to add that. We'll see it in a minute. And then in the book, in the pages, we can find extract of texts, and together with the text, the online media sources where the text is referenced. For example, in this case, we have Strange Days, and Strange Days, the movie was quoted in this book, in this Remediation book, multiple times, in multiple pages, probably, but anyway, in this page 5 of this edition, it was cited, and yeah, exactly, and then we can add different media. In this case, of course, a trailer, for example, or pictures, etc. And of course, we try to keep that in the context of the text that we have on top of the section of the page, because in case of multiple texts, the page will create automatically new sections. So this is the original context that we read, and yeah, we try to keep the continuity. Maybe you can also show, yeah. That Valentina, maybe you can also enlarge some picture, some yeah, or move around a little bit. Yeah, exactly. We have these coordinates while we scroll because, yeah, this is in preparation of this canvas that we mentioned. So it's possible to rearrange per drag and drop all the sources and to move them. Or to make them bigger or smaller, as well as the text, to move them around, because the idea is then exactly to allow in the back end the reorganization of this content in order to create zines or to create printable material out of the sources. So this is, of course, this is now working only, so to say, in the front end, so in the presentation layer, but we are working on storing this information and allow the user to reproduce, to make real-time layout in a particular, in a specific area of the project once logged in. So yeah. Okay, and then we have these. Yeah, we have also the possibility. Yeah, to if I remember well, we have also possibility to browse the text per se. Yeah, I mean, if you go to the main, yeah, now it's exactly, this is become exactly, this is affecting the size of the font, and holding in a particular corner of the text wrapper, it will change the font size, and holding and dragging on another corner, it will change only the square, the size of the square. So we are trying to deal with these different controls and parameters. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, if you go back here to the home, so to say, yeah, we can scroll for the texts, browse texts, texts only, and also this is also sort of experimental so far, and here the texts are simply provided without any relation anymore with the original book. Of course, you can click and then you can find out what was the relation, but here it's really a sort of yeah, now it's put again in context. So I'm talking while seeing the page scrolling. So maybe it's not super clear for who is listening, but exactly. And here we have the possibility to simply scroll texts, decontextualize it from the original source. So it's another way of reusing the text without any connection with the original source. Then, of course, we have this information. This information are, of course, entered by the participant, and is the participant who is building this structure by providing new pieces of content, new online media sources. So maybe we can try to quickly, maybe Valentina, you can try to log in with your account and see or edit one source, or just have a super quick overview, and then we can.
Okay, I sent the link of the website in chat. And
you don't want to show how to. You don't want to show how to.
I don't want to show my password.
The password is protected, and it's not. Okay.
So I just interrupt my share desktop. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Just for 1 minute.
Okay.
Less than 1 minute.
This is the extra security moment.
Maybe not so.
No, it's encrypted. It's encrypted.
It's not so elegant. I know about.
Okay.
Okay. So.
Okay. Good. Now I see what you meant. Okay. Now I got what you meant. Okay. So you have a bad memory, basically.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. So we have this dashboard here. The dashboard is for each user's personalized. This is okay. The super admin, it's us. And for example, you can go to this to one page and just to show Marcus how to do something. For example, page 86, and then you can edit the source or add, for example, add text. I think add text. This one up on the. Okay, this is to add the new source, and then if you want to add the new source to this page number of this book on the topic Lawrence of Arabia. Of course, you go there, you read the text, and you can increment by adding new sources. So this is a way. And then if you click, exactly, and then it's simple. As you click on one source type, which is video link, image, etc., and then you are guided through a very simple multi-step form that tells you what to do. So this is super simple. And you can also upload documents, for example, and upload or choose remote files, but this is all about the usage of the interface. What I wanted to show, if you can close this pop-up now and open the other text.
Okay,
on top of the page or at the bottom. Yeah, exactly. This is add the new online media sources. So this is when you, for example, explore a new page or the book, or simply a new pieces of text that has not been explored in this book yet. And if you follow this procedure here, you will add a new section in the page, no? And then you have to add the information, etc. I think we can go through these as we work.
Can I ask one question?
Of course.
Short question here.
Of course.
And that's the beauty of hypertext is that you connect. You can't necessarily visualize that where the connections are linking. But if you have books that are very similar, this reminds me a little bit of some of this things like the Kevin Bacon game or these rock family trees, where you make connections across movies with the Kevin Bacon game, and they all have to come back to Kevin Bacon, who's an actor. And with the rock family trees, they kind of show relationships with who collaborated with who on a musical project. is it possible to visualize some of these connections in that way? So if there's a connection between two or three of the books, can you see that connection? I don't know, maybe
no, not
as a Fellini film connects with them all, for example.
Not yet, but we are working on that, actually, on building relationships between the books. Yeah. So far, it was kind of very complicated in taxonomist terms, in terms of how to categorize these without losing too much the original context. But yes, this is definitely something very interesting for the further exploration of these books. But so far, a book is a unit. No? It's not. We don't have the possibility so far to go from one book to another book.
It doesn't become a reader, in other words.
Yeah.
Like you find a reader on a topic, which would be postmodernism, and there's 4 or 5 texts.
Exactly. It's really the trail is, let's say, book, page, text, and then the online sources. But the online sources is really rooted into his own page, his own book, edition, and in his own book. That's why we also wanted to extend not only relationship between books, as soon as we find as we find how to do that without, like I said, losing consistency. And the other point is also to add different text editions, because not only depending, then we have, of course, the topic of the translation, which is super complex. But apart from the translation, now everything is in English. But also in English, of course, we have different editions. And according to edition, one page might be another page. Now, I have this edition I'm showing to you of this book, and this is the edition that we use. And this edition, of course, is a nice edition, but there are also other editions different, and the pages are, of course, the page tree is, of course, different. So in this case, we want also to provide the possibility to move between books editions and other books. No? But so far we are still in this beta version where this is not possible yet. Yeah, you can definitely, I know the FAQ, but there is also, Valentina, you stayed a little bit around the FAQ, and I got your visual suggesting as we should update FAQ. Okay,
yes.
that was the hint. Okay, and then we have a wish list where anyone can propose a book to be explored, because so far only 𝘼𝙧𝙧𝙬 can add books. The route, the initial path of the books is somehow curated so far, not because we want to be the owner of this process or to control this process, but we wanted to avoid, to give the possibility to someone to register and add anything. That's just a little bit of a sort of selection. We wanted to do a little bit of selection. Okay, then I think maybe we can here we can also add the book page, for example. If a page is completely new, page number and path, etc. Okay, the group's audience is an experimental feature that we have because we wanted to create for each post-digital reading group workshop, we wanted to create a group with sort of a little bit of social tooling in the back end in order to let people get in touch and continue to get in touch around topics using the platform. But again, it's experimental and not ready. So maybe at this point, since we have this 20 minutes left, I would propose to send Marcus the link and the material and the link for the registration, and then you can go through this and create a profile, and you should receive an email and authenticate, and then after that maybe we can work a little bit on the text and see if we find something. No, I don't hear you, Valentina. You're muted.
I don't remember exactly the link of the registration, but I try to send you.
Okay, yeah, just log out. Just log out.
Okay.
And go to, yeah, now go to register. Yeah, I think what you sent in the chat is okay. Yeah, and then create new account. Can you click on create new account? Yeah, this one. You still need your email. Yeah.
Create new account.
Yeah.
And then the lovely code I have to add in.
Yeah, sure. Now this takes some time. You should receive an email and then authorize. And then Valentina and I, we also have separate accounts, so we can all together work on our computer and autonomously, and then maybe we can see afterwards. We can see some outcome together through screen sharing. I will also go to the portal and log in. Okay.
Nothing's come yet.
It's not coming yet?
No, I've clicked create new account.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gone back to the splash screen.
Okay, I can see you, your user in the list of the user.
Am I?
Mm-hmm.
Already?
Yes, I think you have, you received in your email, you should have received a 24-hour link, which is a link which is available only for 24 hours. And as soon as you click there, you get authenticated, and then you are asked to change password, to choose your own password, and then you are in. We can try to do this, and then if it doesn't work, we can unblock you.
I didn't get that link yet.
Okay, you haven't received any email at all.
No.
Maybe check the spam folder.
I'm just doing that.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's not the one.
Okay.
Nothing yet. I imagine it will come soon.
Strange.
Yeah, maybe.
Just see.
If it doesn't work, we can definitely, since the user was registered already and you cannot replace your password, maybe we can exchange
It says
the
request
information.
new password. Try that.
Okay.
I'm trying that.
No, request new password is for active users. So you have not been activated yet. No? So you created a new user, and the system generated this URL. And then if you click on that URL, you should be redirected and logged in. And there you can change password. And after that, you become an active user, authenticated. But the point is that if you received this email, if not, I understood you haven't got any email, right?
No email has arrived. Not
no
in
email has arrived.
Folder.
Okay.
And I've looked at all mail. It could also be. It could also be my mail provider. There might be.
No problem. I will log in. Wait a second. Give me a moment. So, Marcus, you check the email again, and in the meantime, I go to your user, this one, and yeah. Let's say.
Where should I see it? I don't see it anywhere in my inbox.
No worries. I'm sending you.
It's not come for some reason.
Okay. Okay. Active. Okay, now I'm sending you the information. So I'm sending this only to you in the chat, of course, and then of course after that you can change your data.
I'm watching.
So the password, temporary password, is this one.
This is the chat, is it? You haven't sent it yet.
Okay, temporary password for you, and the username, because if you haven't got the email, you don't know even your username, and this is the user. Okay, and with this data, you can
log in
here at this link.
It asks for a code as well. Is that right?
With the captcha, yeah. For security, yeah.
Very secure. Yay! Remember.
Yeah, I mean, cool. Okay. And then, of course, you have your profile where you can add pictures and you can change, of course, this temporary password that should have been sent, and yeah, all the data, etc. So here
Berlin group membership.
Yeah, and then exactly, and then there is a lot of other information. Okay. So now maybe Valentina, if you have on end the text excerpts that we want to share, maybe we can share it in the chat or globally.
Okay, but do you want the Nico's books?
Ah, yeah. Sorry. You're right. We have to ask if we have 3 books so far. So we have this postmodernism, which was explored intensively so far, and also this remediation, which was explored already intensively. Or we have this book from Nico Carpentier, which is actually an online book. This is not a paper, so it's really a PDF.
And it also is involved in the project because it's one of our supporters, so to speak.
Let's give that one a go.
Okay.
We haven't done it yet. So Nico Carpentier and media and participation. That's right, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. I see the book.
Yeah.
And you can show Valentina how to access the book.
Yes, of course.
There's about 10 pages I've got there that I can pick.
Yeah. And if you want to do the download, the official download is here. You click under the book, the image of the book.
And
you get the download link.
And here's the PDF to download it.
Yeah. Okay. Or if you prefer, I can send you via chat.
Send me via the chat, because I'm looking at the part of the book now. It's quicker to do it that way.
Yeah, go with the chat. I would say so.
Okay,
Yeah, because globally and also for me, put it globally, and I will download it as well. Yeah.
Just one moment. Okay, here.
This book looks at participation as a structurally unstable concept and is the object of a political ideological struggle that makes it oscillate between minimalist and maximalist versions. The struggle is analysed in theoretical reflections in 5 fields: democracy, arts, development, spatial planning, and media, and 8 different cases of media practice. Doesn't list those. And the case studies show participation close connection to power, identity, organisation, technology, and quality. It hasn't come yet, by the way. There it is.
Okay.
It's perfect. Sorry, I can send you the PDF.
And I have it.
Because,
Yeah, we can.
There's something blocked from the Zoom.
From 2011 it was published. Okay.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then I should pick one of the pages that we can.
Yeah. Yes, I remember you that we have more or less 12 minutes left. So it's not much time. Yeah, 15 minutes more or less, and not much time. But yeah, we don't have to rush at all.
Okay, but let's pick the first one, the introduction, because I know we don't have to rush, but at least then we get something.
Yeah,
so I click on the
course,
page, and it says 𝑽𝙚 newspaper. If I go to the actual book,
I think we can simply, like in a real reading group in person, in presence, we should all try to work independently. I don't really care much if now there will be silence and only clicks in the stream for the people who is not seeing what we are doing, because we are exploring the books now. We had a wonderful conversation so far. So if we have this last 15 minutes, simply working, I'm good with that. This is my, just to say we don't have to really rush and to do something together at this point. We can really work independently on the pages.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we see it's definitely.
Maybe we work on the same page.
Maybe we work on the same page. Yeah, exactly. This is something we cannot predict if we are not in the same room. But I would also start. Okay.
Okay, and then we have bits there.
It was the whole process was somehow reversed, and this is I find this very interesting in terms of process, because normally when we do a reading group in presence, we got shorter comments at the beginning, and then we work on the book, and then the discussion starts after processing the material. But in this case, since we are connected through this webinar platform, we had a nice discussion before through the screen sharing and sharing resources, also the link that were shared in the chat, and less work on the sources. So it's somehow reversed, if this makes any sense. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I never see this page, only surviving page from the first draft of the manifesto by Karl Marx. Did you see it? I never see it.
Which page? This one? Oh.
See you on my...
It's a handwritten page?
Yeah, it's an handwritten page of manifesto, the Communist Manifesto of Karl Marx, and that is a Karl Marx calligraphy.
It's all autograph. Okay. No, I never seen it. No, I never seen it neither.
And also curious that the font of the first edition of the Communist Manifesto is like Nazi. Because yeah, it's in the same time, probably not in the same time. I mean,
it was a very common.
Yeah, very common and style. The style, was, yeah, is in.
And also the style is very similar.
Yeah, the style is the same things, and so wow. Okay, I never see the first cover.
And this is actually it is 1848. So yeah, you're working on this?
No, I just want to discover that part of the manifesto and yeah, the Communist Manifesto. Yeah.
Okay, no, because on my side, so I go
Did
to
you add something?
Yeah, yes, I did, but it's not ready, and I don't think I have the time to finish. But I'm working on Temptation Island.
I know, but Temptation Island.
I found in the text page 197. I found yeah, there is a more than a little part dedicated to Temptation Island and the analysis of the participation process involved in the format, TV format, and I'm now struggling. I found the online media sources, I found the text. I'm struggling with finding who is the author of this format, TV format, Temptation Island. So I'm now, since we have really, so we should actually quit soon. I'm not going to finish this, but I will research then later.
Okay.
Who is the producer? Who is the producer?
Communist Manifesto, maybe just about the.
Marcus, are you on some topic? Did you find at least some?
I started on that first page, that page 9 introduction, and I wanted to see if I could find a picture of a flag that was mentioned. I didn't find the flag yet, but I did find a reference to a museum which showed what the boys in this place lived, how they lived. So I put a link to that. But I wanted to do it quickly, so it's not as fully as I would like it. So I think I have to move the link somewhere else. I noticed that you can, when you put the time, you can only put a year.
Yes, not multiple years. True. Someone else already pointed this out.
Well, it's not so much that. When I'm quoting academically, they don't, for URLs, they don't want the year. They want much more precise if you can give it. The day sometimes, and even the hour and the minute. Yeah. And a lot of websites have that.
Okay, so we have to quit.
It's a good. For me, it's okay. I'm Alessandro.
For me, we can
maybe
close.
For you, Marco.
We can close. It's 2 hours of we spent already. We had a wonderful discussion. I think that this part is the part that can be also continued then on a single computer. But if Marcus, if you want to continue, we are happy to stay.
No. I think 2 hours is enough. I've seen the idea. I've seen how it works. But what I would say is to do it again is to arrange people like Wikipedia does this. They have what they call them, editathons, where they get a whole bunch of people to come around the topic. So this one is very related to Czech Holocaust, this particular page. So if you announce there's a theme to a whole bunch of people that will come, you might get 20 Czech people that want to edit on that, and they put all the links in, and they all do it at one time. So that could be a way.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and whatever the topic is, you just say there's going to be this theme, and it's going to be in, I don't know, a month's time, we're going to talk about this. You get a whole bunch of people doing it together. It's very, very productive.
True. Well, thank you so much again
for your
passion, comments, discussion, and everything.
Yeah,
it was a pleasure.
I hope to see you in real life.
Well, I'm coming to Helsinki, but I'm not coming till Thursday, and then my workshop's on Saturday. So I'll be there Thursday, Friday. Well, very late Thursday, but Friday and Saturday for sure.
Okay.
Also, thanks to Pixelache. I don't know if the communication was cut already, but in any case, thanks to Pixelache for inviting us to this 𝘼𝙧𝙧 Festival and to discuss around this nice topic of this 𝘼𝙧 Festival.
Follow you. Yeah, we hope.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to all.
Bye.
Have a great day.
Bye. Okay.